Okay, so we're live. You should be able to see my agenda. Hi. Were you here Thursday? Okay, it's fine. Let's find your spot. It's in the replies for Thursday. Let's get you in the right spot real quick. You are. Where did I put you? Oh, you're over in between Pardiv. Yeah, Pardiv and Pranav. So you're Pardiv and Pranav. Raise your guys' hands. Oh, they can't hear you. Okay, but you're in that open spot. Okay, I have Fernando. I have your thing up front whenever you need it. Okay, so new seating chart is in Thursday's thread in case you need it. Thursday's agenda, I mean. We're going to talk really quickly about what we have going on today, which is your project 3.1 is due by midnight. Okay, so get that in before midnight for full credit, adjusted for your accommodations, of course, but it's due tonight. Becomes late after today. We're gonna talk a little bit about critiquing and a little bit about exporting. Number one thing is critiquing. So critiques are a process that we kind of tried with the logo project. There was some success. There was some room for growth on my part. So we're trying something a little bit more informal this time. The biggest thing I want you guys to understand is that people are trying to do the right thing and they're not trying to be mean to your designs. Okay, the goal is not to be as critical as possible, breaking down every little thing about people's animal artworks. It's to see the things that you like and see the things that you think could improve or maybe make a little bit more sense, have a little bit more clarity. It's an opportunity for you to critique a friend as well as receive some critique on your work so you can both be better at the end of it. Okay, so you want to be complimenting each other and providing feedback. I know it's kind of weird to say as a requirement, but it's not really a requirement so much as it is a guideline. Build a little compliment sandwich, right? Say a nice thing, say a thing that could improve, and then close it out with another slice of nice thing when you guys are giving critiques on each other's works. What I'm looking for, because there's not really like a script that you could follow or specific questions that I'm looking for answered, you could just look at each other's artworks. The monitors spin, so you can point them at one another and just kind of go over the parts that you enjoy about your own and about theirs, things that you maybe want to do differently or that you want to do better, or things that you think you need a little bit more clarity or need a little bit more information about on your on their work. I hope that makes sense. So but before you get into that, I want to show you the quick way that you want to be exporting these images. Two biggest things is that your reference image, the one that the animal that you've converted into shapes, is optional. You do not have to turn it in with your final submission. Color is also optional, but you still need to build some type of animal out of shape tools. And I can show you a lot of ways that color could be used. There's also a PNG or a JPEG format of upload. So if we look at project 3.1, let's scroll back down to the deliverables real quick. This is what you're actually going to be submitting. Remember, you need your first shape creature and the shape creature needs a friend. So you need at least 2 shape creatures created before you submit this. Most of you guys are in a good spot. Some of you guys are finishing up your second ones. All of them are looking amazing. Yours in first periods look just so cool. I'm so stoked to see them all. But remember that you do need 2 of them in order to get full credit on this assignment. Today's your last in-class workday, and we're in that critique and finish stage where we're double checking the requirements, making sure your final work is ready to go, and then export it, which we're about to do now. If you need any references outside of school, you have the Hendrix video as well as some inspirational stuff and a couple of samples on the Canvas page if you're feeling stuck or if you're looking for one to kind of quickly replicate. Those are options available for you. And I'm going to show you how to export it real quick right now. And then you guys can get into some critiquing time, some finishing, some final adjustments, blah, blah, and blah. Okay, so let me find my way to my folder. You also want to check and make sure that your OneDrive is syncing at these new seats. You might have to log back into Adobe. I can check that if you need help. But biggest thing is make sure that OneDrive is still doing its thing so you can save your work at that point. Okay, so I'm going to open up my lizard thus far. You can see in my preview window, I've got a bunch of all the shape modes and Pathfinder tools and stuff that I showed off yesterday. We'll get into that later. Okay, so let's say that my creature was ready to go and I'm ready to export it and submit it. If you want to include your image in your final submission, you can skip this step. If you don't want your image to be in the final version, all you have to do is go into the layers panel right here and then click on this box where your image is so that it disappears and all that's left behind are the shapes that you laid over the top. The tracing, so to speak, of your work so far. So I don't want my reference image to go through, and I'm just going to leave the color pretty basic in this sort of sense as it is. You go up to File, and then you go to Export, and then you click on Export for Screens. We'll do that one more time with the target icon on there. File, Export, Export for Screens. Okay. It's going to pop up in your export window. It's going to say Artboard 1 right down here, and it is going to ignore everything outside of your 8.5 by 11. So even though I have all this information out here with all these examples, it's only going to focus on the white canvas or whatever color your canvas is. It's only going to focus on the white canvas that you have available because that is going to be your artboard. If you have two separate files, you'll export them both individually, or if you have them both on one workplace, then you can click and drag them onto the same artboard so that I can see both of them when you submit. So anyway, sorry, File, Export, Export for Screens. And then the first thing you should click on is this folder icon right here, this little folder button on the pop-out that says Export for Screens. That is going to ask you where you want it to save, okay? Right now, if we check my path right at the top here, OneDrive 2024, graphic design, project 3.1, this is the destination that the file is going to be exported as, okay? So when it's in the right spot, make sure that it's somewhere in your OneDrive. You can click on Select Folder, like this, Select Folder, and then you can check these boxes if you want. It's not required. This just changes the way things happen right at the end. I'm going to leave them checked so you can see what happens when I do. The last thing that is optional, but if you're interested, this little prefix box right down here, you can add a V and then the letter F for version final, or you can change version to be 3, 4, 45, 566, right? You can add in this little prefix box and it will automatically add that version number to the end of your export. So I'm going to put VF because this is my final version that I'm going to submit here. And then I'm going to click on the Export Artboard button right here. Click on that. Doesn't look like anything happens besides this green box appearing. But if I go into my files, and then I go into the 1X folder, that is going to have my artwork, and the artboard is going to be invisible because it turns invisible when you export. It becomes transparent. And this is what I'll be uploading to Canvas. So if you have any questions about the export process, or if you get stuck on anything, let me know and I can help you through it. But this is something that I don't want to do every time we have a project. So commit it to memory, practice it now, or remember it after these next couple tries. Okay, so that's the end of my spiel. You guys have 40 minutes to critique one another's designs. Remember, compliment sandwiches, compliment, then a critique, and then another compliment. Before you export these and submit them. I did forget one last step. You got to rename this because right now this says VF Artboard 1. It's not what we want. We're going to right click on that and rename it to have the Canvas naming scheme of capital, or not all caps, sorry. Your first initial and then your full last name. And then this is period 6, followed by either an underscore or a hyphen, depending on whatever you like. I'm going to do a hyphen for this example. This is project 3.3. And then this is the version final. Oh, mine got goofed. 3.3 version capital F final. And then I hit enter and it's ready to be submitted to Canvas. If you go to the Canvas assignment, it's also an example in the rubric. We scroll all the way down to the bottom here. The correct file name does have examples and descriptions, and it is worth half your points is having the file named correctly. So don't miss out on those free points, right? Examples here in the long description, and I will detail what level we have in the comments. Okay, any questions? Comments, concerns? Okay. This is what I submitted for first period. Okay, the rest of this time is yours. Thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it very much. Enjoy the last day of this project. We'll have something new on Monday. Thank you guys.